Hey, welcome to Happy Tales of Happy Tales, the podcast where you'll hear stories of the way pubs have touched our hearts and our lives. So for the next few minutes, let everything else go and just listen and smile. I'm your host, Julie Jackson.
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked me to do this. I
Thank
love
you so much.
I love the doggos. Yeah. Um so I've basically been breed specific, you
Okay.
know. Like we
Yes.
had a Cocker Spaniel, I think, when I was in my teen years, but it's always been the Doxies for me,
Mhm.
you know. I think because I want to achieve like the greatest disparity in dog size and human size, right? So
Right. Right. They're
so
so cute, though. Oh my gosh. They're so
yeah,
cute.
yeah. Uh, so um so Fretless just turned 4,
Yes.
and he is my fifth or sixth dachshund.
Are
And
we going to get to meet Fretless today? Might he
yeah,
wander
yeah,
in
I'll
at some
bring him
point?
up.
Okay.
I don't know where he went, but he'll come back. Um,
Okay. Good. I was hoping so.
yeah, yeah. Um, and I think what it is, you know, like there's a certain amount of what you're going to get with a breed, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
they kind of have like archetypes, right? They're kind of this thing, and then each individual pet has his or her own personality. It's just
Yes.
hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
We
used to
have a
I
house full of healers and huskies, so we know we're going to get destruction and back talk.
back talk, and my dad is a healer guy,
Yes.
and like incredibly loyal,
Mhm.
predictable dogs.
Mhm.
In Dad had a blue healer that just you didn't worry about the house, right? I mean, he was always on patrol. He
Yes.
was always on patrol, and he would do funny things like jump up on the back of a horse with my dad when my dad was rounding up cattle and stuff. And
Yes. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
just uh, and had the natural herding instinct, right? So dad could just walk him out to a pasture and say, Kylie, round him up, and she'd just go to work.
Yeah. It's
She
nuts.
didn't. Yeah,
But like
yeah,
you said, the uniqueness, our healers, they're 12 now, but they're twin girls, same litter.
yeah.
And when they were little and we'd wake up in the morning and they'd want to take me to the back, hey, take me outside. And they would
Right.
herd me to the back door. But
Yeah.
without seeing them, I knew who was hurting me because one nipped and the other shoved me. So
Oh,
it was
okay.
like
Yeah,
they had
yeah.
their distinct. So if I was being nipped, I knew it was Lily. And if I was being shoved, I knew it was Eleanor.
Isn't that funny? That's
So,
just hilarious. Yeah, so my first dachshund was Sniffer, and he was a stray.
aw.
It was right after my mom and I moved to Texas to be with my stepfather, and we were living in what used to be the Soto Grande apartments over in Euless,
Yes.
and Sniffer just showed up one day, and he never
Oh,
left,
oh,
and I hate to be the guy who like looks back on his own childhood and is like, well, things were just so much better when I was a kid, because I think everybody misses. I think people do that because they want to be relevant as they age,
Mhm.
as opposed to just acknowledging that every age is pretty spectacular on its own, right? Like, I mean,
Yes.
you know, um, I would have loved to have a phone that does all the things my phone does when I was 16. I probably wouldn't have, been as diligent about some things had I had that phone. But anyway, uh so I do tend to get nostalgic about Sniffer, but it really was during a time in the town that both you and I grew up in
Yeah.
where you just open the doors in the morning and everybody left, right? Including the dog. It'd be like, see you later, Sniffer. Like if he was doing anything he wasn't supposed to do, the neighbors all knew him, they'd send him home. Like get out of here, Sniffer, go home. You know?
Sniffer's like, oh, street lights are coming on. I got to get back home now.
Right, right. And whereas now with my dog, I'm like, gosh, I haven't seen him in 7 minutes. Where is he? Like, is
Yes, yes.
everything okay? We never worried about Sniffer that way. It's just
That's
the
so
kids,
great.
the kids would bang out the door, he'd bang out the door, everybody show up for lunch, whatever. And he was, we'll occasionally watch old family movies
Oh,
and he'll
yeah.
show up and it's just, oh man. And he was a full-size dachshund, which I've
Okay.
had miniatures since. So he was rippled. He was just strong.
Mm.
And he was just such a good boy, and that sort of casts my heart in that direction.
Right,
So
right.
yeah.
It totally
And
makes sense.
yeah. And I've had girl doxies, I've had boy doxies. The boys are a little more aggressive, the girls are a little more sedate, but gosh, the dog I had that was most like a cat was a girl dachshund. She was kind of standoffish and
A little more timid or
yeah, well,
kind of,
more like she wanted to be worshipped the way a cat
oh,
does.
aloof, kind of.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I always used to get annoyed with my mom when she would say, about the cat. Well, I'm just happy the cat lets us live with her, and I was like,
Yeah.
forget that. Like pack the cat's bags. I'll walk them to the curb. Like
Right,
you know,
right.
until I had a dog that acted that way, and then I got it. Then I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, of
Your
course.
Majesty, I understand
Yeah,
now.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So, yeah. So, and I so I was thinking about
Oh,
this and
here's one
how
of the
it's all going to be.
floofs.
Oh, look.
Sorry,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
they'll come join us every now and then. Go
yeah.
ahead.
That's
I'm
good.
sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. Hey, Fretless, where's my boy? Yeah,
Oh.
he'll show up. Um, so I was thinking about what I would talk about today, and you know the paradox of dogs and pets in general is that if we live a life that's what the actuarial tables say it's going to be, we're going to have a lot of them, and we're always going to have to say goodbye. and
Yes.
and that's been the single hardest part. And as I've gotten older, like I said, Fretless is 4, and I hear his ticking clock. you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
i'm i I just do. I can't believe it's already been 4 years. Still a young dog, but I remember when I brought him home,
Mhm.
and
Yes.
I think about the inevitability of that. And honestly, how I hope it's that I say goodbye to him and he doesn't say goodbye to me, because then where's he going to go live?
Yeah.
you
Oh
know
my gosh. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I had a girl dachshund named Mitzi, and it's the only one that I've lost early. I lost Mitzi when she was 5 because she developed cancer, and
Oh,
um and I had arranged to have a friend of the family who was a vet come to the house so we could say goodbye that way. And her little veins had collapsed so badly that
oh
he
yeah.
couldn't get a line into her,
Yeah.
and in fact ended up sort of injecting the stuff not into a vein but into the system, which just made for a doped up dog. Like
Oh,
she was like,
right.
yeah, she's like she was drunken. So ended up having to take her to the hospital
Oh yeah.
for the shot in the heart. and
Oh.
uh um and it was, I mean, I tell stories for a living, and I would, had anybody sketched out this story, I'd have been like, come on, man, that's way too maudlin. We can't do that. But I had her little head and was waiting for the shot, and which is almost instantaneous, but there is like that little moment, and she
Yeah.
licked my nose and then she was gone. And I
Oh.
just I mean, I didn't have any control over myself.
Yeah,
I picked her
no.
up. I'm like walking around the lobby with all these other pet owners, and I'm crying and I'm bawling and I'm holding her, and her bowels dump,
Yeah.
which happens after you die. And,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
and they misspelled her name on the
Oh.
receipt, and I screamed at them. It was just it was awful. But the really cool story about Mitzi is I was the sports editor of this West Coast paper back then, and my columnists would pick all the weekend football games. And so I had Mitzi picking against them, and she was like kicking their asses. And and she died mid-season, and so I had put a
Oh.
reader note in that said Mitzi was sick, and we were going to be saying goodbye to her. And the notes, the outpouring
Oh.
that I got, people sent her toys, people,
Oh.
just every day I would just have this stack of mail in my office. And so that all got buried with her. Like,
Oh.
we put her in this big toolbox, and we set all the letters and everything down in there with her. And yeah, yeah, it
Oh.
was, I mean, it was every emotional end of what that's like,
Oh,
is like
yeah.
all the love, all the heartache,
Yeah.
all of it. So
They really do bring out the best in humanity, though.
they do. I
Yeah.
here's something that I just kind of find generally hilarious, right? If you kill a dog in a book, which I've done, like
Oh.
people get angry with you.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
you can you can you can torch a school bus full of children in a book, and nobody cares. Nobody,
You're not going to get hate mail. It's just part of the
oh yeah,
story.
it's
Yeah.
amazing. It's amazing. And it really, I mean, it says something about them, and what it says about the dogs is good. What it says about us might not be that great.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
we ultimately, if you want to move us to do the right thing, involve a dog. Because if you're going to just involve a human, you might not get our best response,
Yeah,
and that's
really. Well,
it.
it's funny because of course I am apparently have a reputation as being a dog person. I don't know where that came from.
Where did this come
Where
from?
did this come from? But so, like movies will come out and people will be like, "Oh, did you see this?" And I'm like, oh, "Are you kidding? I can't go see a dog movie. I can't."
Yeah,
And a dear
yeah.
friend of mine, she have you ever read Racing in the Rain?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, it's a great book, but oh my
Right.
gosh, I listened to the audiobook and I was at work. And by the end of the
Oh
book,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
ugly sobbing. I'm standing there
Oh yeah,
working, ugly sobbing, and I'm like, okay, feel like an idiot. But I tell people, I'm like, I can't do a dog story.
yeah.
I can't do a dog movie. I can't do a dog story. And even like some of the stories that people have been sharing, my family's like, you can't cry in all of them, and I'm like, oh, but I can.
I'm gonna.
Just watch
You
me.
watch me. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I was
Yeah.
on a flight one time from well, it was a two-parter. It was like gosh, what was I how was I doing this? I was like Minneapolis to Atlanta to Portland, Maine. And I I only had like 3 or 4 books that were not in the cloud, and there was no way that I was going to
Mm-hmm.
pay for internet access. And so on my Kindle. And so one of them was Where the Red Fern Grows.
Oh gosh.
And so I
Yes.
started it, and I knew what was going to happen because I'd read it before, I've seen the movie. And sure enough, I'm sitting in a middle seat from Atlanta to Portland, Maine when I get to the end of that book, and I'm just a big sopping mess,
Yeah. Yes.
and
Yes.
and so then I tell my seatmates, well, I just read Where the Red Fern Grows. One of them was a middle-aged woman, sitting next to me, and she starts bawling just because I told her
Just
what
no,
it was that I was.
yes,
Yeah,
yes. Where the red fern grows, Sounder, Old Yeller. Like,
yeah,
did they hate us as children? I remember. I remember in Snow Heights that
yeah,
we like read all of those, and yes, they're great stories. But I just remember thinking this is the worst pain I've ever known.
yeah, 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 yeah. It's just it's very well. I mean, it taps into that thing about dogs. I mean, I felt bad about this, but I wasn't lying. I told my grandmother one time, she was kind of good-naturedly teasing me about how much I love my dog that I had at the time.
Yeah.
And I like looked at her and I go, "Yep." I said, "Love her way more than I love some family members."
And sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to apologize for it.
Yeah.
Fretless came into my life. If I were making rational decisions, I probably would not have brought him aboard when I did. We were living in Maine, and it hadn't really worked out, and which is just a hard situation in general.
Yeah.
You're, trying to unwind a decision that you had been excited about, and and then I'm like, well, I want this dog. He was bought him from a breeder in a small Maine town. He was one of five boys. He was the last one to leave,
Oh.
So I get there and I'm crying because I've wanted him so bad. And the owner's granddaughter is crying because she's become attached,
Right.
and
Right.
he's the last, as everybody's a mess. But Fretless was, I don't know that I would have gotten through those final months in Maine without him.
Mm-hmm.
He, when he got a little bigger, he and I started going off on these nature preserves, long walks in the woods. And he was my little faithful buddy,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
he let me sort of come to terms with Maine, like not hate it as I left, but love it,
Mm-hmm.
and still know that I had to go. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot of very human lessons in something like that. I mean, we've all had
Yes. Yes.
the things that we want that aren't for us, and we have to let go, and it hurts us,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And dogs can help us through those things. A dog will sit and listen to you and be
Yes.
fascinated.
Yes. And
When you
no
really
judgment.
have to pour it out, right? When
Yeah.
you really, really have to pour it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just have moments where he'll be sitting on my lap and I'll look at him and I'll just be like, this all doesn't come together without you, buddy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Well, I know it's amazing what fantastic communicators they are. Like
yeah,
the fact that they don't speak our language, but they
yeah,
sure understand everything. Probably
yeah.
a lot of times better than people do.
And they have, you know, I mean, I've read the science on this, where people who've clearly not spent a lot of time with
Right,
dogs are
right.
like,
Yes.
well, dogs don't love. Give me a break.
Oh my goodness.
They
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And they're empathetic, and they may not be empathetic in the way humans are, where they can feel what you feel, but they feel that you are out of sorts, and they
Yes.
come to you and they sit with you through that, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yes.
Um, and we also have a cat. The cat is my wife's. I love the cat, but my wife is the cat's person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I am the dog's person. And I'm not saying cats are not capable of that, but dogs are remarkable in that. Hey, buddy, you're not feeling so good. Let me come over there and see you
Yes.
through this.
Yes. Yeah. Just
So
their intuition. Just their,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah. The way
it's
that they
really,
pick up. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And they
yeah,
know. And sometimes it's amazing how, like, they recognize that something is upsetting you before you even fully recognize something's,
yeah,
just sometimes
yeah,
the way that they're extra affectionate or extra snuggly or whatever.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
you realize, I'm really in a funk. and I,
Yes, yes,
and,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then,
Fretless, he'll just come and he's like, I sense that you need me here, so I'm
Mhm.
just gonna sit here, and
Yes.
it's much appreciated because
Well,
you're right. Sometimes I can't put words to what it is, You know,
Yeah.
I'm waiting to sort it out for myself, and he's there, you know.
Yeah. We kind of laugh because so out of the floofs, Chuck is the one that I refer to as the aloof floof.
Okay.
And he's Barney is very much the derp,
Yeah.
tongue hanging out of the side of his mouth and always a big goofy grin.
Yeah.
And Chuck adores Ricky. Like Ricky
Yeah.
is Chuck's person. But it's funny because if I'm sad or if I'm just, if stressed, whatever, whatever it
Right.
is, Chuck will come over and he will just like dramatically throw his big head across my lap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just, and he's like, I
Yeah.
know, usually I don't give you this much attention,
Yeah.
but I can tell
Yeah.
you need it.
Yeah. Yeah. Fret will come and he'll sit on my left thigh and sit up like a prairie dog.
Yes.
And then he'll just, and then, like the Leaning Tower of Pisa will just fall into my chest,
Yes.
and he'll just put his head there, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I feel you, buddy. You know,
Well, and I
I,
know I've seen you post some pictures too where he rocks those like looking up at you eyes.
oh yeah. Well, Doxy side eye, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
yeah,
Just
he will. He's got that going on, so, and like I said, every Doxy I've had, they've all had these commonalities. So, you know, my attitude has always kind of been, if you lose a Doxy, if you lose a dog, but I can speak to Doxies. If you lose one, you give yourself a little bit of time to just sort of lean into it. But the cure for that particular broken heart is another Doxy,
right.
because you will see reminders of what you just lost, and then you'll get the particular personality things that only exist in that dog. And
Yes.
you know
Yeah.
and it's just, it's amazing. It's
Aw.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so does he do anything or have any things that like when he does it, exactly he's telling you, like, does he have certain little things that he does with you that crack you up or that exactly what he's saying?
Yeah. Well, he has two that I can think of, maybe three. So his potty signal is really funny. and
Okay.
and 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 doxies are hard to train, so you have to be attentive to their patterns, and then you get it. So he'll go stand by the door that I let him out of into the backyard, and he'll look at me, and I'll say, do you got to go outside? And if it's yes, he'll trot toward me, and if it's no, he'll just sit there looking at me.
But he's got
And
his signals.
yeah, yeah. But he wants something. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's, okay, do you want me to come down on the floor and tug with your wooba, or you know but trot toward me is yes, he's got to go pee or poop. So
See, isn't that
out he
funny?
goes. Yeah. Yeah, it's just weird. It's just this language that we've developed.
Yeah.
The the other thing that he does that's pretty hilarious is, he, I don't know where he got this, but he likes to set his back flank on top of my foot, and he'll
Oh.
and then I'll lift him up, and he'll look like a seesaw, and but he's kind of, I don't know if I can say this on your podcast, but he's a little bit whorish about it, like he's, hey, come here, bud, come here, come
Oh,
here,
here
come
he
here.
comes. Here he
We're gonna
comes.
say hello. Come here, come here, come here, come here. 1, 2, 3.
Oh,
Ah, there we go.
there you
Here
are,
we go.
buddy.
Say hello to Julie.
Oh, I gotta give you kisses, Daddy. I gotta give you kisses.
Yeah, there we go.
Hi, buddy. Hi. Oh,
Hey,
there
bud.
you are. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
you're so handsome.
So this is kind of how he sits with me. He just sits up like a prairie dog.
And he writes while you pet him.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So
So you're actually his ghostwriter, right?
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I just
Or he's
dictate.
yours, I guess.
He's a
Yeah.
typist. He's a
Right.
typist. Yeah. But anyway, he's a little whorish about it, So I'll see him sort of surreptitiously backing up to my foot, and I'll move my foot around, like I'll make a parabola with it, and
Yeah.
move it over here, and he'll go to sit down, it won't be there, and he'll
He's like,
he'll
you're
be
not
looking, like what just happened. And then the only other thing is when I'm playing with his wooba, which is just a little Kong toy.
Yeah.
So I'll throw it over the couch so he can go fetch it. But occasionally I'll throw it into the couch, and he'll run around the back of the couch, and he'll be like this, and he won't come looking for it on the couch until I go, uh-oh, and then
Oh,
he'll come around,
he's like,
he'll
okay.
jump up on the couch, he'll go get it, and then I'll say, go down your ramp, and then he'll run down his ramp to protect his little back. So yeah.
I love that too. How, like, I've never been really good about training my dogs.
Right.
We can communicate, but we expect them to have manners. But
Yeah.
I always kind of joke. I said, I mean, I've been raising my daughter to be a productive, like I want her to go out and make the world a better place and be a productive member of society. I am not raising my dogs to do that. They can do what they want, as long as, I mean, within reason. But it's so funny how there's things like that they just, like they learn, you say certain things and they're like, okay, I got you. I know what that means.
Yeah.
But I always kind of laugh too, because I said, I'm not a good dog trainer, but my dogs are excellent people trainers.
Oh,
because, like it takes them a matter of minutes before they have me doing whatever,
Yeah.
I'm just.
Oh yeah. Well, here's another thing, and this is hilarious because I love that dogs have rules for things. Like they have an order.
Oh yeah.
So first thing in the morning, I'll come get him out of his kennel. I'll take him outside so he can do his business. We'll go up. I'll prepare his breakfast, replace his water. He will not touch the breakfast until my wife comes downstairs and gives him one of those greenie treats, the dental treats.
Yes.
And so she'll make him sit, and he'll sit, and he'll look at her, and she'll give him the treat, and then he will take off downstairs like he's getting away with something.
Yeah, it's like he stole it.
Yeah, he'll go down there, he'll eat his greenie, and then he'll come trotting up and eat his breakfast. And
that's hilarious.
Yeah, like he knows the whole order. He will sit and watch me prepare his breakfast. I'll set it down, and then he will go to the cabinet door where the greenies are and wait for Elisa.
This is what happens next. Yeah.
Yeah. Like he knows it.
He's so smart.
Well, I don't know. There are other things that suggest, he's not the sharpest sharpest bowling ball in the alley, but he's got that down. He's the first dog I've ever had who kind of has to have a walk up to mealtime. Most dogs are like, oh great, we're feeding me.
Yes. I'm done. And 2 seconds later. Yeah.
Fretless needs everything to be in order. He's
he's more discriminating.
Like, it's just funny, and that's what I mean when they all have their peculiarities. They have the breed archetypes, but their own little things.
Their personalities.
Yeah.
So we laugh because one, I'm not even sure which one adopted this most obnoxious habit, but they've taught it and everybody knows it now, but it's really pretty handy and it's hilarious. So I tried this thing years ago. We were getting like the yellow patches in our backyard from where they were tinkling, and it changes the pH or whatever. So I found these things, and I don't know, honestly, they look like maybe lava rocks or whatever, but they said in theory, you put this in their water and it changes the pH of the water enough that it prevents that from happening. But you have to change them out like every 3 months. That sounds like a marketing thing to me. So
ensure that you buy more in 3 months.
So their water bowl though is a big metal bowl, and we thought, well, we'll give it a whirl. So we put them in there. Did not change them in 3 months. Now we're going on years and it's the same batch, I'm sure. But the funny thing is they figured out quickly that if the water level got too low for them, they bang those suckers around inside that bowl and you can hear it through the whole house. Like I can be in any part of the house And I hear the rocks and I'm like, I'm coming. I'm coming.
Yeah.
And everybody in the house knows, and they all do it now. So
Yeah.
so yeah, and I'm like, okay, you have us trained, and I'm glad we got these rocks. They're totally not for the purpose that we bought them for, but now the water bowl never goes empty.
Yeah, well, that's just how your dogs are saying garçon,
Oh, exactly. Yeah, I
So-
know. Sometimes I'm pretty sure they're like, get the lead out, snack lady. Come on.
Yeah. That's my joke with Fretless, is that he refers to me as fat boy, it's like, where you been, fat boy?
Well, right.
Yeah.
We got stuff to do here. You have things to do for me. I need you to hurry up.
Yeah. These trains are not running on time on their own, Pally. Yeah. It's hilarious.
Well, thank you so much for sharing time with me today.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to hear what you do with it.
Yes, absolutely.
Good luck cutting it up.
Thank you. I'm not going to cut too much up. It's just going to be real.
A free form. Yeah.
It's funny because everyone that I've said, hey, I would love to hear about your dogs, people are like, what time?
I know. I was like, when you told me to go on the thing and choose a time, I'm like, well, can we do it right now?
Well,
thanks so much, Julie.
Yes, have a great one. Take care.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I know that you are busy, and I really appreciate that you chose to spend some of your time with me. So let's do a little bit of bookkeeping before we head out. If you enjoy this and you would like to receive the episodes automatically without having to seek them out, then in your podcatcher, follow or subscribe. And that way, every time an episode drops, it'll show up for you and you'll know that it's there. Makes it super easy. You don't have to think about it. Please go visit the website. It's really cute. It's got puppy pictures. Also, I've got a free gift for you over there if you will go check it out. And if you would like to message me, if you have any suggestions, specific pup stories you want to hear, or even better, if you want to share a story, you can message me right there from the website. That's the best way to get to me for that. Check us out on all the different socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, all of them. That's where you'll see pictures of the pups that we talk about each week. Also just other fun pup things. I'm going to put episodes on YouTube as well. Sometimes the episodes are recorded via Zoom, and so there's video. A lot of times it's just us talking, but every now and then there are some fun cameos from puppies, or there's shenanigans in the background, and you can catch all that on YouTube. If you want to help me out, if you would leave a positive review and share the podcast, that would be fantastic. I would be really grateful. And once again, if you want to help me out, I would love to share your story. So please hit me up and let's schedule a time that we can talk. Some people have shared their stories in writing. Some people have gotten on the phone and done a chat with me. So we can do whatever you are most comfortable with. Finally, do not forget that you are as great as your dog thinks you are, and go smooch your pooch. Thanks, y'all.